I have more poisonous book list recommendations. I have posted that before, the Poisonous TBR that I have, and I have finished The Royal Art of Poison by Eleanor Herman. And this really was a very, very good book. She goes into detail about all the different stuff that would have poisoned people back in the day, from cosmetics to medicine to, any number of things that you were living around that was just poisonous. And then she spends I think it's about 20 famous cases of people that were rumored to have been poisoned kind of in the Middle Ages. She ends with Napoleon and kind of goes she goes historically kind of through there and points out that some were poisoned. some definitely were poisoned. Agnes Sorel was poisoned, the mistress of one of the French kings. She was pretty definitely poisoned. Congrande de la Scala, he was also poisoned, either accidentally, which seems a little sus, probably was actually poisoned. You have the case of it was Francesco de Medici and Bianca Capello, who was his very unliked, by his brother, very unliked mistress that he made wife. And there's a good possibility that the other Medici brother poisoned that one and his mistress' second wife, just because he felt like things were getting way, way out of hand after he made her his official wife, in spite of his treatment of his first one. And it was just very muddy. The other thing, which is just very sad when it comes down to everything, is just the fact that a lot of this was just bad medicine. It was just bad medical. Several of these people died of probably ruptured ulcers, gastric ulcers that had eaten through their stomach and caused what they thought was possibly poisoning at the time, but was definitely a medical condition that now we can prevent. But at that point in time, just nothing could be done about. There's several cases of famous women who probably died based off of conditions such as miscarriages that had complications, lots of infection. It seems to be typhus seemed to have killed one person here, and just it was all done in and I can understand why people would have thought it was poison because they had no other answer, but much of it was just medical issues that we can prevent now in our day and age. In the case of Napoleon, who it's always been argued, well, he was poisoned and blah blah blah, and that, more than likely no, it was more than likely he had a hereditary predisposition for stomach cancer, and he apparently also had a gastric ulcer that had ruptured in some way but had been kind of sealed up, but then that ulcer had caused the stomach cancer, and his father had kind of died of a similar thing. So even that, kind of a funny footnote from that story, though, is the fact that he really did not like his jailer, so he just liked to mess with him at all times. So he would go out there, and he would have all his servants dressed the same way that he did, and he would have his one valet, sit in the window dressed like he did, and then it would, turn around and be like, haha, it's not me, Napoleon, it's my valet. You can't figure out where I am. He just, that became his hobby. There on St. Helena, he just started messing with his jailer. And you know what? That's a very Napoleon thing to do, and I hope he had fun doing that. But just the situation, and she does make an interesting chapter at the end about how Russia has become our new poisoning godfather now, going with plutonium, it looks like, a lot of the times, and different things, and kind of how the poisoning situation is not done. That is still something that's being used, particularly by Russia. So it's a very, very interesting book. This is very, very well written. I read it very, very quickly because this was so fascinating, and all the different stories about what the rumors were about these people, and then the actual autopsies and the digging up of different bodies and different things and what had possibly happened to them. Mozart was another one that she talks about here, which was always because of Amadeus, always the rumor that he had been poisoned by Salieri. It was more than likely not. According to what they can figure out, it was an illness with him as well that he just, was suffering from and could not get over, that caused different things. So many times the medicine was also what killed you. When the doctors got involved, there was a good chunk of the Stuart period that you just stay away from a doctor, because they were all going to try to give you a bunch of mercury enemas and make you throw up with arsenic. It was not a good time. So in my Poisonous TBR, an excellent book here about poisons and people who were poisons and people who were rumored to have been poisoned and all sorts of different things.